Hi, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Talk Shine Your Light. Shari Hembry here, author of Journey of the Lightworker, your magical journey to authenticity, self-love, and finding life's true purpose. I am very honored to have a special guest this week, Mindi Schifrin. I've known Mindi for, I think, about 2 years now, and we met through a mutual friend. And the friend told me about a wonderful class that she hosts each Monday in Boca Raton. And we'll discuss today the law of attraction, and that's what she teaches. And that's one of my favorite things to talk about. I'm sure you'll enjoy our discussion today. How are you doing, Mindi? Good?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me. It's such a joy and an honor.
Yes, absolutely. And I'd love to share with the audience a little bit about your background before we get started. Mindi owns a private consulting practice in which she counsels clients on mastering their mindset and communication skills to achieve momentum and happiness in all areas of their lives. In addition to her coaching practice, Mindi hosts a community class each Monday evening alongside her friend, Melissa Lapari. And everyone comes together in a group setting to discuss real life situations and find solutions using spiritual tools such as the law of attraction, Course in Miracles, and Kabbalah. Additionally, Mindi has her undergraduate degree from George Washington University. Please help me welcome Mindi to the show today.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. We really, really appreciate it. And I thought it'd be nice if we started off maybe with you just telling us a little bit about your background, just maybe where you were born, grew up, maybe how you ended up here in Florida. If there's any obstacle in your life that you've overcome and you feel like sharing that, that would be wonderful too. But
Sure, of course. Well, I'm a Brooklyn girl. I was born in Flatbush, Brooklyn, New York. And I spent a good part of my life in New York growing up. I was in the fashion industry for about 30 years.
Nice.
Which I absolutely enjoyed, mainly in sales, always using bits of psychology along the way. I moved down here with my then husband about 18 years ago. 18 years ago, I guess now. There was a period of time where there was just a lot of loss, including my marriage. Yeah. And I think at that time, like many people, you have sort of that dark night of the soul.
Yes.
And no answers.
Yeah.
No answers. And totally lost in chaos. And that actually started me on the spiritual journey. I went over to the Kabbalah Center. I just said, okay, I have to do something. And it led me to a lot of truths, a lot of foundation that enabled me to play and work in this space of using these truths to build an amazing life.
Yeah.
So, now I privately counsel people on that, and we have our weekly groups where anyone can come from the community and have a rich toolbox to use some of these applications to really manifest what they're wanting.
And I love your weekly class. I definitely will be, I can't wait for it to go live again, which I think we were discussing a little earlier, that hopefully in January. But, you know, you have Zoom that obviously captures a lot of people that don't even live here locally. So it really is a wonderful class. And I totally relate to your background. I've very much been through those dark moments in my life, similar. And the funny thing is I wrote that into my novel, Journey of the Lightworker. My character goes through a very similar transformational process where everything at one time is kind of taken away from her and she has to reinvent herself. And she decides to do that from a much more authentic perspective. And I think that's exactly what you're talking about. So.
Your book was wonderful. I so enjoyed it and highly recommend it.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Fantastic travel in there too, which is a passion of mine. So
yes, yeah. If you ever just want to visit Spain or Israel, Japan, England, you can just go on the adventure of traveling alone. And I think the first thing we were going to talk about is really describing and defining what the law of attraction is. I think some of my audience will be familiar with that, but then some of my audience won't be. So I'd love for you to discuss a little bit about, how you would frame that up.
Law of attraction essentially is the belief that like attracts like, or the law that like attracts like. Mm-hmm. So that we emanate energy. And the simplest way to understand it is if you were at a party and enjoying your friends and someone walked through the door who was just in a rotten mood, right?
Yeah.
You would, even if you were across the room, you would feel that negative energy coming off that person, right?
Yeah.
And you would probably stay away.
Yeah.
If someone walked into the party through the front door and was just effervescent,
yeah,
you would feel that wonderful energy too. So we have that ability at all times to emanate either positive energy or negative energy. Mm-hmm. And just as in the example I gave, the person who was negative, you'd want to stay away from, but the person who was effervescent, you would want to move towards.
Right.
Essentially, that's law of attraction. There's a lot of nuances to it, but what I love about it is the operating manual of how to manifest what you want in your life. It doesn't get into deep spiritual laws per se, but it allows you to use a wide toolbox to get where you want to go.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And how would someone use, or how would the law of attraction affect us in our daily lives or everyday life? I guess it's always turned on.
Well, we're all patterns in our thinking and our behavior, right? We're sort of rooted in the way we are. So law of attraction gives us the opportunity to pivot. So a good example might be, like in our community class, we pick a topic every week. So one topic might be being in the solution state of mind. So law of attraction would state, let's say we're feeling unappreciated by either our boss or our spouse or our children or our neighbor. It doesn't really matter who you're feeling unappreciated by. That's sort of a negative feeling. You're not feeling good about it. Okay. And you're in the problem. So what do we do when we're in the problem? We complain to our friends, we complain to our coworkers, we ruminate in our minds how unfair it is, and we stay in the problem.
Yes.
So all of that energy keeps us in the problem. And every time we discuss it, our point of power, which is this second, is creating more of it.
Right.
So if we just had this switch where we said, okay, I'm feeling unappreciated by my boss, let's say, in this example, what would be the solution? So let's get out of the problem and just say, okay, I need a solution. Well, he's an absolute jerk. It has nothing to do with me. He's a jerk. He's a jerk. The solution is simply whatever you're wanting, you give. So in this case, you would give appreciation to your boss. There's something to appreciate. Thank you for your point of view. I really appreciate your point of view. Would you be open-minded to me speaking on that? Yeah. Is a very different energy level than saying, you don't know what you're talking about, or my boss is stupid or ill-informed. So so you're switching your mind, you're pivoting your mind into a more positive vibration, we call it, this energy vibration, and then everything lifts up. When you say to your boss, oh, I really appreciate your point of view, they're going to look at you differently.
Yes, I very much agree with you on that. Mm-hmm. I've had that issue in the past when I was in my corporate career, where all of a sudden a boss would be like angry at me, and I didn't really know why, and maybe it had nothing to do with me, who knows, but I realized that it was more my perception of the world around me. If I took a moment and I didn't take that in, and I thought, you know what, I went home actually and I kind of meditated and I started sending love to the situation. Mm-hmm. And I think people are very perceptive. if you're angry or upset at them, they know that, or you're not feeling comfortable with them, they know that. And so when I went back to work, I was able to approach the situation from a more positive standpoint and be more empowered and not let in that whatever was going on with him, which probably had very little to do with me. And then it just shifted. Like you said, the whole situation shifted, it smoothed out, it went away. And, I think that's exactly what you're talking about. It sometimes is amazing how when we don't have control over situations in our life, we do have control over ourselves. And that's part of, I think, the pivoting process that you're talking about. Yeah.
It's almost like the 80-20 rule is reversed.
Yeah.
Like, we think that we, should put ourselves in a good mood and then effort with the circumstances. 80% of our life is efforting with the circumstances, trying to get this one to do this or this to happen or that to happen. But essentially, it's really more 80% your energy, vibration, what you're putting forth, and 20% dancing with the circumstances.
Yeah.
Which become much easier when you're emanating a different kind of energy.
Right, because as you notice, you said earlier, when you're in a great mood and you're feeling good about your life and you're moving forward, and maybe things are not perfect, in the background, there's stuff kind of breaking, falling apart, but you're still moving yourself forward as best as you can, then people are attracted to that. And hopefully the right people, the good people that you would want in your life, are going to be attracted to that energy, and more of that same comes into you versus the negative person that's whining and complaining. And that was a great example. They're going to attract more people that are going to whine and complain with them and kind of be at that, vibrational level of kind of down here. And that's not where, as a choice, that I want to be or you want to be. So it's a very mindful decision of how we want to, be in every given moment, I think.
Exactly. And in essence, when you want to surround yourself with friends, with people, do you want to be attracting people who are complaining all the time, or people who are looking forward and are creating and are in a positive mindset? Yeah.
And I love the idea of pivoting. And I think it's important too, and I know you've talked about this in the past at your classes, that we do have to honor our feelings. We're not exactly saying that it's wrong to feel bad about something. It's actually very good, because it's a great indicator of what it is you don't want in your life or something that you'd like to do differently. So we have to kind of honor that particular point of attraction, which is not what we want. But then, as you mentioned, the pivoting process is saying, you know what, I'm changing that. I'm going to do that differently. And that's when we shift our perception and shift our energy and focus on what it is we do want. And I know it's been a tough lesson for me personally to learn to focus on what I do want, because I kind of grew up in a situation focusing on the negative. And, even now I still continue to work on it. So I've always appreciated your classes, because it helps, it's a reminder to me too, of what it is that I should be doing, on a daily basis. So
thank you. And you know what? We all have the areas in our life where we're super strong and super positive and have, we're rocking it out, right?
Yeah.
We're really good. And areas where we don't. Areas where we feel a little less self-worth or less confident or less able, and everybody has them on both sides. And you can learn to tap into those places where you are rocking it out and bring that energy into other spaces in your life. Really simply.
Yeah.
Really simply.
And it can be so powerful, because once you start that pivoting process, you might take it one step back, you might fall back a little bit, but if you keep going, then the momentum builds. And that's what's really kind of amazing. All of a sudden, things really start to move forward. It's like the universe answers, your desire and gives you more of what it is that you do want, because you're focusing your attention on that. And that's so important. And I have to remind myself all the time of that. So
it really, really is. And the thing is, one of the biggest anchors to this is that all of our power is in this exact moment. It's not anywhere else. So that pivot in this moment, I'll give you a ridiculous example. Okay. So, I'm doing a lot of juggling with my finances right now. And typically I don't, I'm feeling very secure financially. but lots is going on. And so I decided to say to myself every day for a week, every morning I wake up, I'm like, money's flowing to me easily and effortlessly.
Yeah.
Right. So today I'm in the dentist chair getting my teeth cleaned. And the hygienist says to me, oh, you broke one of your teeth. You're going to either have to get your wisdom tooth pulled or going to get a crown. Oh. All of a sudden I'm like, boom, $2,500 gone out the window, right?
Right.
The second I felt that, I said to myself, oh no, girl, money's flowing to you effortlessly and easily.
Right.
And I just left it at that. A minute later, the dentist comes in, he looks in my mouth, he's like, oh, no problem. You know what? No decay there. We're just going to put in a $250 filling and you're good.
There you go. So your solution came fast.
People might say, oh, that's crazy. That would have happened anyway. Maybe it would have. But when you start to really pick one thing, go deep on one thing, and you start to see the causality, you will start to see a pattern of causality when you implement one of these many tools. And then you start to go, oh my God, there is some kind of magic fairy dust going on. We don't know exactly how it works.
Yep.
It works.
I've had those magical moments too, where I'm kind of surprised, like, oh my gosh, I didn't see that coming, and I'm very grateful. So, and tell us a little bit about maybe some of the different topics that you cover in your class, because again, folks can attend your class with Zoom, so they don't have to be here locally to attend. So what are some of the different topics that you might talk about just in general? So,
well, we mentioned one being, putting yourself in a solution mindset.
Yeah.
One of the other, probably one of the most powerful or strongest things, and we talk about it in different ways, is languaging.
Okay.
Is the manner, the stories we tell ourselves and others.
Yeah.
So when we're wanting something, like let's say I'll use the same example, my boss to be nicer to me, or appreciate me or value me more.
Yeah.
I'm going to start to tell a story.
Yes.
As if, right? I'm going to start to say to myself, you know what? It could have been 3 months ago, but I remember when I got that report back and he really appreciated it. I remember, you know what? He's not a bad guy. I'm going to pick him up a cup of coffee and see if it puts a smile on his face.
Yeah.
I'm going to start to tell my friends that, my boss is really smart. He does these 3 things well. And you just start to recalibrate the code. It's almost like a computer code in the energy field. You're recoding the energy field.
Yeah.
To receive something different. And we have old stories from our childhood and our parents and our exes, and where we tell the same story. I'm not good at this. I can't do this. I should be doing this.
Right.
When we catch ourselves in that, we just have to say, you know what? I can do that. If Shari can do that, why can't I do that?
Right.
Right? I mean, there's no reason. God gave us all wonderful talents.
Yes.
So we just start to speak to ourselves differently. And then, the manner in which we speak to others, that we speak to others with appreciation. And then as we go a little deeper, our communication and our languaging, or our what we emanate to whatever our higher power is, whether that be source, God, universe, that communication too, that languaging and communication amongst ourselves, that we have power within us, a super power within us.
Yes.
And know and stand in that. Yeah. So those pieces are really, really important. We talk a lot about languaging. Something you mentioned earlier is pivoting, which is essential. Which just simply means that wherever we are, if we're not feeling good for whatever reason, doesn't matter why you're not feeling good, just matters that you're not feeling good, that you pivot, that you say, I'm going to go watch a comedy on TV, or I'm going to say these 3 affirmations to myself, or I'm going to go put on the Rolling Stones and dance in the kitchen. Yep. Whatever it is, you want to, because what you're emanating is negative and you're going to get negative back. So however you need to shift that energy, you do.
Yeah.
And there's different methods to pivot.
Yeah.
So, we usually throw out just a tool or two. Another one that's super important is, very often, and I'm sure through COVID, and many, there's a lot thrown at us right now. People are anxious.
Yes.
People are anxious and they're worried, and and this is real stuff. Okay, we're in the circumstances, right? They're real, and when they're thrust on us, it can be hard to manage. So the idea of putting energy out ahead of you.
Yes. Yeah.
So we call it pre-paving. Where no matter what your next segment of the day is or what your day is going to look like, that you actually claim. This is not like, I want my day to be good. You're claiming it. You're putting forth and emanating the energy of this meeting is going to go exceptionally well.
Right.
This morning I'm going to make sure that my languaging in the meeting is such that instead of saying, I'm sorry, I don't really know that much about that, can you fill me in? You would say, you know what, you are really insightful on this subject. Can you share some information with me? I'd really like your insight.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's much more powerful.
Yes.
So just, getting your energy lined up before your day starts.
Right.
So, one of the I'm giving you the harder hitting tools.
Yeah.
You can get your arms around, languaging and pivoting and pre-paving. You could really shift your life.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, especially going back to the storytelling, we all grew up with whatever stories our well-meaning parents and, told us, like money doesn't grow on trees. And, so you kind of learn like a poverty consciousness, for example. But like you said, if you learn to expect money to come in easily, money flows easily into me now, or whatever, wording you want to use, it's amazing how you can really change your life. And that reminds me to ask you a question as well. What would you say has been most helpful to your clients that feel stuck? And you were just kind of discussing the pandemic and, like getting them unstuck. And I guess that's some of the tools you're talking about right now. But is there anything else that comes to mind that helps clients with that, feeling of not being able to make change in their life?
Well, the wonderful thing about private coaching is that you get something really tailor-made for you.
Yeah.
So we do spend a little bit of time on, why you feel the way you feel, but there's value in that. But what we take essentially tools like the ones we discussed, but in much more detail, a lot of breath work, working through anxiety.
Yeah.
And repatterning those patterns of behavior. The reason we say the old stories is because we're patterned in our old behavior.
Right.
So once we see those patterns and we bring awareness, once we bring awareness to a situation, we're connected to God. Yeah. God is with us. He's standing with us.
Yes.
But typically we don't have the awareness. So once you're aware of your patterns, you can start to really say, okay, I have the strength of the creator with me and I can shift that. And we go into very specific ways. So it's just much more personalized.
Right.
But with every single client, we are journaling, there is a lot of power in imagination. Yeah. And so getting very, very, very clear on what we're wanting. How many of my clients are in transitions in their life. So effectively communicating with others can just open up, realize how we're asking for things and what we're putting forth. So having consciousness around that makes huge shifts.
Yes.
With ex-husbands and ex-wives and children and, family members.
Yes. And I think it's wonderful that folks could attend your monthly meeting via Zoom and kind of get a little bit of a feel for, the tools and tips that you offer. And then if they want to get more specific and, do some counseling, they can do that as well. So it's, a nice kind of a win-win situation there. So
absolutely.
Yeah. And if folks wanted to get more information on you, I am going to flash here your email. So you can go ahead. That way they can.
Yes, that's my personal email. If you like, you can also join. Well, if you know what, we'll make it simple. Just if anyone wants to be in our class, we send out a weekly newsletter. So just send me a quick email with your email address and we'll add you on.
Okay.
And then again, we only send one email a week, letting you know what the topic will be and where to join us.
Yes, yes. And I'll try to include that in the information as well. I'll put that on my site if that helps. And then now I'm going to flash my website, ShariAHembry.com. So if you're interested in purchasing my novel, I have links on there under shop to Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Amazon has some really great pricing right now. It's, I think, 50% off, but the pricing changes daily. So it's, but it's, and free shipping. Yeah. Free shipping if you're have Amazon Prime. If you prefer Barnes & Noble, that's on there. I've got 3 free meditations that you can receive, guided meditations, if you sign up for my monthly newsletter covering love, money and abundance, and overcoming obstacles. So thank you so much, Mindi, for being here.
Are you going to be at the Conscious Co-op on the 23rd? You're speaking, right?
I'm speaking at Conscious Co-op.
That'll be wonderful.
Yeah, I'm excited about that very much.
Excellent.
And I'll be using the law of attraction is one of my my topics, so that'll be perfect. Well, thank you for being here today, Mindi.
My pleasure. Thank you, Shari.
Absolutely. And everybody, please shine your light this week. We need you in the world, and have a wonderful week ahead. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Shari. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.